Hello, hello, and good evening, everybody. Neil here. Hope you've had a brilliant Monday. Oh, Tuesday, holy shit. Losing my days already. The week is upon us. Monday was the Q&A. Is it too much? Is it possible to have too much, Neil? I think my wife would definitely say yes if you asked her that question. It is quite possible to have too much, Neil. I'm not so sure myself. We've got a really great night for you tonight. As you know, I am joined this evening by Mr. George Lawrence. I just checked out actually my Merchant Words account. I've got my Merchant Words account up here, and I've been using Merchant Words since 2016. I started to think to myself, Jesus Christ, what does that mean? And then I thought about all the products. I'm thinking of one specifically that I launched just prior to that. A doggy supplement in the probiotics niche that I actually found and used the data analysis to do the data checks on Merchant Words before launching it. And that product I subsequently built and then sold it for $400,000. It was just under, it was like 388. But that was all on the back of Merchant Words. So Merchant Words has been very, very good to me, George. It's been very good to me.
Awesome. That's so great to hear.
And I thought as well that I wonder if, but I'd be super interested to know. I reckon that I would be one of Merchant Words' most active customers because we log in every single day. We're logging in, we're looking at trends, we're looking at what happens with it. Not only for me and for my Amazon business, but also for the consulting clients I have. Like I harass all of my Amazon consulting clients to be getting Merchant Words and be using it. But then also for all of our diamond clients as well. We do all of our research for our diamond clients using Merchant Words, and also for our new Slingshot clients as well when we do product analysis and product research for those guys. So nice. I think it's fair to say that I'm a bit of a fanboy.
Well, that is wonderful.
And I was thinking as well, you know, one of the things over and above why I really, really love Merchant Words so much that most folks don't really think about when they're looking at what software to, you know, tie their horse to, so to speak, is support. And that's been something that you quickly learn when you're building a business, that support is actually massively important. And the support that you guys provide at Merchant Words is just absolute first rate. If I've ever got any problems at all, it's so easy to get help, and not just like, oh, you know, we'll be back to you within 48 hours. It's like, it's really fantastic support, George. You guys do an awesome job of that.
Oh, well, thanks so much. You know, way back when I launched Merchant Words, I was just a guy selling on Amazon, trying to, get a leg up on the competition, if you will, figure out exactly what to do with my products. And from the very get-go, I built it just to be helpful to sellers. And I'm thrilled to hear you say that, because that's been our goal all along.
Yeah, it definitely comes across. And the other thing as well that I really, really like about Merchant Words, I'm not going to name any other pieces of software out there, anything like that, but I will say this. It's pretty clear that Merchant Words kind of went balls in on the Australian market and made that part and parcel of what they were doing, and kind of prioritized that as well. You guys obviously saw the potential of the Australian market and what was going in there, because I actually think you guys were first to market with actually getting Australian data up on Merchant Words.
Well, thanks. I got to say, you know, I've been to your fair land several times. I just love it, and I'm thinking, just because you live in the best place on earth doesn't mean you should have second-rate data to base your decisions on.
Let me quickly tell the guys, because some, you know, we've got a lot of folks on the call tonight, and some of them will definitely have met you at the AOE conference. So for those of you that don't know anything at all about that, I stalked / harassed George to come and be wanted to fly over to Australia and come and talk to everybody at the AOE conference. And I don't mind telling you, I was kind of nervous about meeting you, George, particularly because you're kind of, I think you're a bit of a celebrity within our Amazon community, within the professional kind of Amazon seller community. Yeah, you're a bit of a celeb, and so it was a bit kind of, you know, I felt like a bit of a fanboy kind of meeting you, because you'd done so much for me and for my business as well. And then as I recall, you introduced me to your lovely, lovely wife, and you said, oh, and I'd like to meet my wife, Jennifer Lawrence. And instantly, Jen said, but not that Jennifer, a different Jennifer. And I thought to myself, these guys are cool. They're going to absolutely fit right in with what we do at the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. They're really down to earth. It was just a really nice moment for me, you know?
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, we had a great time there. Thanks again for inviting us.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think as well, your prezo that you did there was unbelievable. And I know that you had some incredible feedback from that as well. So it was just such a pleasure. I mean, you went through some really, really cool stuff, and some real gems came out of that. And I know a lot of people have applied some of that stuff as well, particularly when it comes to some of the ideas that you presented for searching, and also some of the product ideas as well. So yeah, that was really, really a fantastic event. So a big thanks for flying over for that. So what do you reckon for tonight, George? What shall we kind of do for tonight? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll be happy to take the conversation anywhere you'd like to go. We can walk through merchant words for folks who may not be too familiar with it, or we can do a deep dive on some of our new products, or whatever. Basically, you tell me, what would you like to talk about today? I'm ready to go.
All right, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, then let's have a bit of a look-see in the question area. Let's have a look, see what we can. Oh, everybody's saying George's session was the best session, way better than yours, Neil. Well, thanks a bloody lot for that.
Well, I think we need a rematch then. This sounds like a competition.
There you go. So I think that's a tacit promise for George to fly back over to Australia. I think you guys all heard that. So we're getting back over again. We'd love to have you over, George. It was absolutely brilliant.
I'd love to be there. Thanks.
So I tell you what I'm going to do. What I'll do to begin with, while I have a quick look through this, what I'll do is I'm going to make you the presenter, George, so you can kind of share your screen and kind of show folks what's going on.
Okie doke.
And while you're doing that, all right, so let's have a bit.
Oh, there I am. Okay, great.
There you go. Deep dive on some. Okay, so lots of folks talking about cover some of the basics, George. Lots of people also saying bit of a deep dive into searching new products as well. So that seems to be, oh, and also the new features as well. So we've got cover the basics, deep dive into product research, and then talk about the new features. So that, I think, seems to be the pretty much, let me just make some notes of that as well. Basics, deep dive, new shit. I put new shit, I actually wrote new shit as well. New core shit that Merchant Words does.
We'll trademark the term. That'll be the name of our new product. So let me just jump in here. You know, we've got a search bar at the top, and I'm just going to make up a word off the top of my head. You can throw one at me too, but let's just do pickles for lack of a better term. And if I do a search for pickles, what we're going to do is we're going to search through our database of hundreds and hundreds of millions of different search phrases to see how people are searching with the word pickles. Now, some people will search for just pickles all by itself. You know, I'm using this just as a silly example, but many people, just about everyone, will search with the word pickles and something else. And so as you zoom through this list that goes on and on and on and on, you'll be able to see all kinds of things related to the word pickles. Now, in this case here, we're showing you things that contain the word pickles. So dill pickle chips, pickle juice, etc. And like I said, this is kind of a silly example, but if this example was related to a product that you're selling, this would be fantastic opportunity for you to jump in and see what's happening with the phrase. Now, if you want to see something a little bit more, what you can do is click the little graph button here, and you can see a graph about each one of these phrases. You can see if it's trending up, if it's trending down, if it's something you're interested in diving in based on some of the stats we show you, and that's available for every single one of the words or phrases we've got here. So you can just kind of go through this list and do your research and see how things are trending up or down or whatever. Do the deep dive into each individual phrase. The other buttons here are kind of interesting. If you hit the plus button, you can add it to a collection, and that will help you create words that you can execute on or take action on later. And that's a really cool feature that we added not too long ago to build collections of words. And then this last one here is just a shortcut so you can jump into other areas inside of Merchant Words, or in fact on Amazon or Walmart if a lot of sellers are interested in perhaps looking at Walmart too, at least in the US. And this is a way for you to jump around in different areas inside of Merchant Words if you want to do a deeper dive on any one of these phrases here. So that's what we call classic merchant words. That's sort of the basics of where the company got started and where our data set began way back all those many years ago. And that's kind of the foundation that started everything off. However, we haven't stopped running as fast as we possibly can to add new and new data sets. And so on the left-hand side here, you'll see all the different products that we've launched over the years. Some of these are brand new, and I'll cover them. This last one here is a beta tool that's upcoming, and we'll be launching that shortly. But let me just sort of zoom through this entire list and kind of tell you what we've been working on. You know, this is right now at this moment, we're of course sort of all impacted by the coronavirus. And so what we decided to do is make a little tool to assist sellers in understanding the fulfillment delays. And, you know, hopefully Amazon will get their operations back to normal. But this is just a quick tool that we quickly pivoted and created because we wanted sellers to see what their delivery fulfillment delays were. And so maybe one day when Amazon is 100% back to their fulfillment how they used to be, this won't really be necessary so much, but that's what that tool is. Then the next thing I want to talk about is digital shelf. Now, we put a lot of effort and energy into the digital shelf, and I just kind of want to run through one of these reports. Instead of searching for a keyword and all the variations of the keyword, a digital shelf insight report lets you do a deep dive into a product. So I've got a couple examples here that I pulled up and built earlier. Here's some of those coffee cups that you put in those machines. And then I pulled up another example for the ladies' underpants that, you know, trim the tummy, called Spanx. Not sure if you're too familiar with this brand, but these examples that I just kind of grabbed at random from a list of reports that I have will show you some really great insights. So pretend for a moment that this is a product that you're either selling or thinking about selling, or perhaps this is one of your competition or whatever, but you need to get some deeper insights onto it. So what you'll see here in a digital shelf insights report is a quick view of how you're doing against the competition. And in this case, unfortunately, this company's not doing so great because the competition seems to be doing better than them in almost every category. You can see that there's more keywords that they rank for the competition. Their rank is a little bit better. So if this was your product, you can see there's a lot of work you need to get done. We can pop over to.
Sorry to interrupt you. What does that mean? Share a voice.
Oh, share a voice. So a share a voice is kind of the idea that if you have. First of all, if you don't mind, let me put a pin in that. We'll come back to it in just a second, but let me drop down to a couple of things a little further to build. I promise I'll come right back to it.
Okay, cool.
I want to talk about frequently seen words and then your list of competitors. So what we do to build this is we take a look at where your product, in this case, the K-Cups here, we look where your product appears on all the search result pages inside of Amazon. So on an Amazon SERP, when you type in a phrase and you see your product along with all your other product or all your other competitors, then what we do is we pay attention to every single time you appeared and where your competition appeared next to you. So for example, you compared to this competitor and this competitor and this competitor, et cetera, all the way down in your full list of competitors, we see that you appeared together on 265 or 230 in this case, or 227 in this case. You appeared together on the same set of Amazon search result pages. And that means that these are your keywords in common. However, we see that your competitor appeared on 4,000 SERPs inside of Amazon, search result pages, that you didn't appear on. And so what that means is this is your shared footprint, if you will, of search result pages or rankings that you appear on. This is kind of what you're missing out on. Imagine kind of a Venn diagram here. This is what they're ranking on that you're not. And so you can examine, and we'll dig into one of these in a second, you can examine the overlap, which is interesting, but you can also examine what you're missing out on by looking at what they're ranking for. Now, share a voice means that on these 4,000 keywords that this competitor ranks on that you're not, or these 265, et cetera, that we take a look at what position you are on the page compared to where your competition is. And so you ranked on 303 keywords that are in common with your competitors. And when we take a look at that, we can see that all of your rankings using the position that you were on each of those means that we think you were seen by approximately 22,000 people, or you were noticed by approximately 22,000 people. Now, what we mean by that is if you're at the very top of a particular search result page, chances are people are going to notice you. If you're at the very bottom of page one, fewer people are going to notice you, but some will. And so what we do is understanding how people take action on and notice the different position depending on where you're ranked on the page, we know that approximately 22,000 people are going to notice you, and you can compare that share of voice of how well your product's noticed to the share of voice of your competitors. So 700,000, et cetera, all the way down the page, you can see who gets noticed more often based on the number of result pages they appear on and their position, whether it's at the top, in the middle, at the bottom, et cetera, on each one of those. Did that answer your question a little bit, or at least start to kind of paint the picture together?
Yeah, it does. And for me, my digital marketer brain goes, that's kind of like impressions, the number of impressions that I've had on a page, but taking into consideration the page, the layout of the SERPs as well. So obviously the higher up the page you get, then the greater share of impressions you get. Is that a reasonable analogy of it?
That's it exactly. Yep. And so the idea here, and maybe we should jump over to someone who's dominating against our competition a little bit. Let's hop over to the women's underpants here. And it's a silly example. We're just kind of pulled it up. So here, if we take a look at some of the competitors, the different brands and whatnot, we'll see various sizes of shares of voice, but we'll also see various sizes of missing keywords. And so what this means is this particular brand, Bally in this case, is ranking on 432 different keywords that our main product, the Spanx brand, is not. And so what we want to do is take a look at what those keywords opportunities are. Let me open this up in a new tab, and as soon as this loads, we can take a look at it. Now, like I said, we can take a look at the overlapping keywords. Let's take a look at that for a second too. But the real opportunity is where you're missing out. Now, if you don't really want to do this competitor by competitor, you can take a look at the full list of all missing keywords, and this will just be a fantastic opportunity for you to dig through and see where your best opportunity lie as we figure out how your product is best positioned against your competitors.
So George, would you then use those keywords, for instance, in PPC campaigns and things like that?
You could use it everywhere. So for sure, a PPC campaign is exactly where you'd want to use it. We've got a lot of our clients use this digital shelf insight report to get keyword ideas for blog posts or their content strategy. They get fantastic keyword ideas for optimizing their listing. Let me go back to the main page of the insights report for a second. And that's exactly why we created this frequently seen words section here. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to take a look, and in fact, let me come back to that in a second. Let me hop around a little bit first. So if we look first at the missing keywords with the competitor, this was that one opportunity where I said, you know what, however my brand here compares against a competitor's brand here, let me see what the opportunity there is that I'm missing. And what this means is that other competitor of mine who might have a bigger staff, might have a bigger budget, might have more opportunity to do more research, then I can get the insights on what they've already figured out that I haven't figured out yet. It's kind of like I'm standing on their shoulders, if you will, or cheating off of their homework on a test, so I can see what their good ideas and their keyword strategies have been, and I can kind of cheat, if you will. And so this is exactly what that list is. It's cheating, if you will, by peeking on the homework of your next door neighbor here. But you know, hey, all's fair in love and war, they say. All's fair is on Amazon as a seller, I guess, too. So if you can peek on your competition and kind of get the advantage of understanding what their strategy is, I say more power to you. And so what you can see here is this is all the place where your product is not ranked yet, but you probably would be interested in ranking here. We initially organize it by relevance. So what that means is these are absolutely relevant to your product. And so we wanted to highlight them for you first. And just like elsewhere inside of Merchant Words, you can see what the exact trends are, dig deeper a little bit into each one of these words specifically. But the more powerful thing here is that you can download this entire list, export it as a CSV, and run it back into one of your campaigns, run it through whatever other backend system you have. But we want you to get the full access to have all of these phrases here so you can best leverage the intelligence of what your competition's doing that you maybe not have seen yet. Now, going back to this other section here, the shared keywords, it still is interesting to see, instead of just the missing keywords, it's interesting, I think, to see where you're sharing placement. And so this is where you and your competitors appear on the same search result page, but now because you and competitor both appear, we can tell you where your position is based on your competitor. So you were number 2, your competitor was number 11. Fantastic. You're dominating there. You're 1, they're 12, etc. Oh, not so good here. 21, 5, etc., and so on down the page. And so this is an interesting way for you if you want to sort by these different columns or analyze them. You can see exactly where you might want to do some extra work or where your competition's beating you. And again, we organize it by relevance because there's a lot of words and phrases in this keyword report, but we want you to focus on what's most relevant for your product. And again, you download it by CSV to run it through whatever backend system you have or use it elsewhere. And you can always get additional information about any one of these phrases that we have here. We'd love to have you look at that. Some are going to be better opportunities than others. So if you want to do a deep dive on each phrase, by all means. But like I said, if you can download it and aggregate, that perhaps is a little bit easier for you. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is if you don't necessarily want to compare your product against any one single competitor to look at the opportunity, you can look at all of the missing keywords from the complete aggregation of all of your competitors that you're missing out on. And that's what I loaded up here. And so the shared keywords with all your competition, they're right here. The shared keywords with all your competition is a very powerful report. You can download the whole thing to CSV, like I mentioned, and analyze it later, do any additional research, but we sort it by relevance. You can sort it by anything else. And this is a way for really for you to stand on the shoulders of all of your competition to look exactly where your product could be generating more sales and optimizing your listing and whatnot, but you've just been missing out. Now, that brings me finally around to the frequently seen keywords. You were asking about PPC. You were asking, what are the best of the best is kind of where I want to kind of go into here. So if I look at these 10,000 keywords here, or the 5,000 here, or all these different sets of keywords against one competitor, against all competitors, this is great. And I encourage you to download the full CSV and get as much value from it as you can. However, if you're looking just for the most refined cream of the crop, if you will, on each keyword insight report from the digital shelf, what we give you is the top frequently seen words. So we'll zoom through this entire list and count up, if you will, all of the different word parts that we see from this list of thousands and thousands of phrases to show you the best or the top most frequent words right here. Now, we could only fit 50 on the page before it became a little bit too cumbersome, but you can download it. There's a CSV button off on the right here. You can see, you can click the CSV button on the right over here, download it, and then do your additional analysis. But when you download it, you'll see thousands and thousands inside the CSV, and here we just show the top 50. But if you hover across, you can see that the reason we suggest the word shaper, for example, is because it appears in almost 2,000 different keyword phrases across the different SERPs, the search result pages inside of Amazon, but it also appears in 81 of your competition's titles. So that's a strong indicator that if your competition is using it all over the place in their titles, you might want to consider it for either your title or at least somewhere in your listing. So in a nutshell, let me just say, if you're considering a product or have a product already, if you jump into the digital shelf and create a digital shelf insights report, what that'll immediately give you is a list of all your competitors down here that you can dig into, do a deep dive on any one of them, a list of all the keywords that are opportunities for you that you're missing out on, and we know that because your competitors have already leveraged it. You can take a look at all of those opportunity keywords in aggregate. You can do them individually if you'd like, but if you're interested in just getting the best of the best, then the frequently seen words will tell you exactly where the best opportunities are for you to take a look at these different phrases and words that belong in your title, belong in your bullet points, belong in your description, wherever you think they best belong in your listing, is to optimize your listing by using these keywords. So that's a quote unquote nutshell overview of what you can get from the Digital Shelf Insights report. And that's one of the new things. So to tick off the box of talking about the new things we built, that's one of the new things that we launched just recently, but from a product point of view, helping you optimize your product, not just doing pure keyword research. From a product point of view, this is a fantastic tool for you to jump in and see exactly how your product's doing.
I think this is brilliant. I would say that I've been taking notes feverishly here. So two things that immediately came out of this for me, what I'm going to go away and immediately implement. Thing number one, this is a absolute gold mine for exact match, not only Amazon PPC campaigns, but also for any PPC-based search engines like Google, Bing, things like that, to go set those up as exact phrases and run traffic on them, because that is utterly beautiful to see. I mean, it's just fantastic. And then the other thing is, content marketing with all of the frequently seen words, that is just a brilliant way of putting together a really, really cool content marketing strategy for your Amazon business. I'm going to go and put all of my products through that, take out everything what comes up as far as the most seen keywords, and I'm going to liberally litter all of our content articles now with those. So all of the writers we use and things like that, we'll be able to give them an exact, here's the words to include in the stuff that you write for us. Here's what to include that's based on data rather than guesswork, what we've been doing in the past. That's a really great tool, George. I love it.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks. And you know what, I got to admit, we have a data science team that are hard at work with, artificial intelligence and, tweaking the AI training algorithm that we've built and things. And of course, we're not slowing down on that at all. We're still going full speed ahead. But almost embarrassingly, the data from frequently seen words comes from your competition. All we had to do, and I don't want to say all we had to do because it's a ton of work with a mountain of data, but really all we had to do was take a look at all of your competitors, the tens of thousands of places where your competitors appear, and then just simply do the math, if you will, and we're learning from what they have already figured out. So in a way, our AI is the marketing team of all of your competitors. So it's not artificial intelligence, it's actual human intelligence. We're just cheating off of their homework, if you will.
You kind of crowdsource it. That's a really, really cool thing. Now, is this available, this digital shelf, in Australia? Can we access this in Oz?
Not yet, but the interesting thing is it's available in the United States and in the UK. So when you create a digital shelf insights report, what you'll be using is either the UK market or the US market. But what we've seen is worldwide, anything you generate from one of those markets will still have pretty much solid value in helping you understand what are these phrases in whatever market you're in. So if you're optimizing your product only for the Australian market, that's okay, more power to you, but understand how people are using the phrase, the phrases people are using that your competitors are using as they're positioning their products in the UK or the US market.
So is it then the case that, for instance, so Rosie's asked me, if you're launching a new product and it's not yet popular in a marketplace like Australia, for instance, but there's data in the US market or the UK market, is that a good place to go to get the data? And is it a fairly representative of other marketplaces, like what people search for in the USA tends to be what they search for in Australia as well?
Yep, absolutely. The interesting thing is there may be one or two different, as we all know, there's maybe one or two different phrases that are popular in Australia that don't really catch on in the rest of the world. And first of all, I think that's fantastic that we all kind of describe the same product a little bit differently. But between the US and the UK and Australia, our worldwide research shows that there is a common set of keywords that everyone in the world, no matter what they're looking for. So, for example, they're going to call tummy, shaper, girdle, etc. Those phrases will be relevant pretty much worldwide. And so base your analysis on the, what I'm saying is cast your net as wide as you possibly can. We've seen a lot of people search for languages and common slang and whatnot across marketplaces all the time. We'll see Britishisms in US, and we'll see stuff that is kind of US slang in the UK market and all over the place. So it's a great place to start. Understanding the US market and the UK market for something that you're optimizing for Australia. But even though it's a good starting point, you'll still see plenty of overlap between the various markets.
Oh my God, I just got massive amount of chills thinking about all those new markets that are yet to open, like Singapore, for instance, going into a Singaporean market where nobody else has got data. Well, now all of a sudden we've got access to some data that we can start making some database decisions on. Oh my God, I've just got chills thinking about that. That's incredible.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is included with all the Merchant Word subscriptions, and at any level, whatever you join, you'll have access to some number of these. Create them for all of your products, your competitors' products, or products you're considering. And then, like always, if you've got any questions or concerns or got some ideas for improvement, please just let us know. There's a help button or a chat box at the very bottom. Please chat with our online support agents. Reach out to me personally. My email is george@merchantwords.com. Love to hear from you, and we'll help you any way we can. But this ticks off the box on some of the new things we've been working on. Let me just sort of zoom through the list and kind of go down here and and continue our tour, if you will. So the digital shelf insight report we talked about, this fulfillment status we talked about, emerging trends. This is something that's really interesting. Let me just open this up and start poking around here. What we decided to do is let you get insights into phrases that we have never seen before. And you can do this in just about all the worldwide markets, including Australia. And what it lets us do is jump in here and say, you know what, across all categories, and we can be more specific about this too, but across all categories, these are some weird phrases. Now, they're not going to be the top of the funnel, if you will. They're not going to be the very peak of the top of the keywords, but these are phrases that are emerging as brand new that may wind up to be something that, you know, because there was a moment in time where every product that's super popular today started off as not as popular as it is now. In other words, you know, fidget spinners and some of the other worldwide phenomenons started as something no one had ever heard of for the very first time, and for the folks, the sellers that paid attention early on, you know, they got rewarded. So inside this list here may be phrases that move on to become monster hits, great products one day, or maybe there's things that are a flash in the pan. We don't know for sure, but in our emerging trends tool, we show you everything that has never been searched for before and was searched for the very first time, so you can keep an eye on if this is an emerging new product that's going to become popular, or maybe this is something that might not be. But we wanted to be able to say, you heard it here first, folks, and give you a quick peek on it. Now you can, like I said, with everything else in Merchant Words, you can download the full list, do some analysis later on, or you can kind of zoom through this on the website, however you wish to digest it. But the Emergent Trends tool shows you worldwide across all categories, if you want to slice and dice it that way, things that have never been searched on before or that have become popular again after a long period of being off of Amazon, so they might be due for a resurgence. That's the Emerging Trends tool.
Great. I was just on that prior this morning, well, this morning my time, I was just on that looking at one of the markets I sell in is Germany. Just on that, looking through different new things, because for me, what I use it for is I use it to look at, actually, it's great to see what's being rediscovered, but I'm interested in what's brand spankly new, what's out there that is just starting, as George says, just starting that surge in popularity. Go check that out. Go and see what it's all about. See for yourself. You'll see if it's going to be something which has actually got some longevity to it, or if it's a flash in the pan. It's pretty easy to spot the flash in the pans, and it's pretty easy to spot what's going to have some longevity. And it may even be that something that is just being described in a new way. It could be just a new way of talking about something old, but there's some real gold in there. I think it's a brilliant tool, George.
Thanks so much. So that, you know, it's powerful, but it's pretty simple. So that, in a nutshell, that's it. We wanted you to see what was happening that's kind of brand spanking new on Amazon. So that's emerging trends. Next, that brings us to collections. Oh, like I mentioned before, you know, I'm not sure if my account, if I have any collections. Oh, I've got one. You can create hundreds or thousands if you wish, but folks have been telling us for a while now that it's great that we can do all this pure keyword research, whether you're looking at something that's brand new or very well established for your product, and all across our suite of tools inside of Merchant Words, we have various places where you can see fantastic lists of keywords, but they're kind of hard to manage, because in the past all you could do is download the CSV or copy and paste or whatever. So we had a really easy way for you to just click the plus button wherever you see it, and that adds it right to a collection. And then once you've created your collection, click the download on your collection or jump in and edit your collection, and it's a great way for you to optimize keywords. That's sort of like a little helpful tool that follows you around as you organize and make sense out of your different keyword collections you see on Merchant Words. Then continuing our tour, we've got classic search I talked about already. That's sort of the bones of what started Merchant Words off. We still call it classic search because it's super powerful there. The next thing is kind of related to that, and that's keyword multipliers. So in classic search, if you remember my silly example of searching for pickles, what you do is we get everything that contains the word pickles. Oh, I haven't logged in on this browser. Isn't that funny? But if you recall, if you recall, you get everything that contained the word pickles in the match there. Maybe maybe I should log in. Well, we'll figure that we'll figure out that technical glitch later. Uh, but the keyword multiplier is a little bit different, and that is keyword multiplier doesn't necessarily look for the keywords which contain the keyword you specified. It looks for all the related set of different concepts. So I can pick an example here. I don't know, maybe sunglasses. I'm just picking them at random. And what we do is we zoom through this list, and it doesn't necessarily have to have the word sunglasses precisely, but it's everything related to sunglasses in that whole ecosystem. Let's do another one. I'd be happy to throw out any examples you might have, but let's do beard
Guys,
oil.
anybody want George to search something for you? This is like a unbelievable opportunity to have the boss of Merchant Words do a little search for you. So if you've got something you want George to search for you, let us know.
Well, you know, we did pickles before. Let's see if pickles still works. But as you zoom through here, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to have pickles. What we'll do is we'll take a look at anything that contains the concept of pickles. So it's a way to say, show me all of my show me all the different phrases I might want to consider, just multiplied out well beyond the word itself into the whole ecosystem or this whole category of phrases.
So is that using like a semantic-based algorithm to do that, George? Like, how are you coming up with that data?
Yeah, exactly right. So when I was talking about the AI training models that our data science team uses, this is kind of what I was alluding to. And now it's not necessarily the only approach you should take. It's certainly great to take our suggestions on the different keywords here. Let's go back to, I don't know, we were talking about underwear before. Let's do that again. But the idea is you don't necessarily want to limit yourself to one approach. And so this approach here has that AI kind of semantic analysis we're talking about. But if we think back to the digital shelf report, this is what we were kind of alluding to, where we're standing on the shoulders of our competition and kind of cheating off of their homework. And so we can learn from their smart decisions that they made by simply seeing what decisions they've made already. Or you can simply look at what our AI thinks are some interesting phrases for you to consider. But either way, consider what our phrases from AI is suggesting, or consider phrases from what we see your competition doing. It kind of gives you the best of both worlds to understand the keywords that you should be interested in.
So this is a really, really great tool. And the way I use this particular tool is, you know, I live either in Australia or here in Portugal, between the two countries. And so for the US market, there's loads and loads of colloquial terms that I don't understand about the way they describe things, okay? And that's true for Canadians, that's true for the Brits, it's true for the French. There's ways that they talk about products and ways that they search for products that, unless you're there on the ground, living in the country, you just don't get to hear, you just don't get to understand. And so by using something like this, it gives you that you're on the ground in the country, looking at what people actually search for, and it enables you to get the same advantage that a native speaker has without being in the country. And that's, for me, as somebody who loves to travel, is a massively important thing. And that's how I use this tool. It's been extremely useful for us, helping us to understand how to talk about products, not just in the way that we use it for PPC, but also in the way we use it for our descriptions, for our titles and things like that. It's been hugely important as a way of actually giving us eyes on the floor, an understanding of the way they talk about it within their market. It's been hugely important for that. I love this tool.
Oh, well, thanks. You're very kind. And you know what? I love to travel too, as you know. And whenever I'm in any new place I've never been before, I'll definitely go to the store, the market, and I'll stand there and listen, just to overhear people's conversations. I'll be like, oh, that's fascinating how people describe things. I would have never thought of that. And so you're right. This is a way to do that without all the traveling. But traveling's fun too.
Yeah, we love travel too. So somebody's asking about if it gives slang. So it does. It gives the way that people describe things, the ways that it's actually being utilized within their own native country. So that could be a slang term. It could be a colloquial way of saying it. It could just be a turn of phrase that they use to talk about something. Think about all the ways that Aussies talk about things that the rest of the world would think, you know, we're talking a different language. And yet, if you want to sell to Australians, you've got to be able to use that language. Otherwise, you know, it just doesn't come off right. And it's the same with other countries too. So yeah, it's a really, really cool tool, a really great way. And it's like George says, it's like you stood at the marketplace listening in as locals talk about what they're actually buying and how they talk about it. It's super cool.
Oh, thanks. So let's continue our tour. We talked about the emerging trends, the collections, classic search. Oh, page one products. So often what people will say is, I have, let's click on Nintendo for fun, is I love being inside of Merchant Words and staying heads down with my collections of keywords and doing all this research. But often I find myself needing to jump out to Amazon to see what the page one of a particular keyword might look like. And so what we did is we brought the page one of Amazon inside Merchant Words to make it just a little bit faster for you. And so here, this is a page one search that we, a search result page from Amazon that we observed from Amazon recently. And you can just jump in and see exactly, without the clutter of the UI and everything else clogging up the page that you'd see from Amazon. This is a way to just get right down to the bones of it. And like I said, it's not like our algorithm came up with some brand new insight here, but it's just a convenience feature for you to jump in and see the data that's happening on the page one of any search phrase inside of Amazon. And elsewhere inside of Merchant Words, like I was saying, we're talking about the classic search. Elsewhere inside of Merchant Words, whenever you see any phrase here, like I mentioned, you can add it to your collection if you wish. You can get a little additional research from it from our chart that flies out here. But one of the things you can do is get the page one search results for it. That'll hop you right over to the tool I was just showing, the page one tool, and that will kind of show you exactly what's on that page without having to pop out of Merchant Words and into Amazon to see it.
Now, so this is super cool. And again, the way that I use this is, you guys know already, you can run what's called a placement campaign in Amazon, where essentially what you're doing is you're going to put your product, you're going to kind of hijack somebody else's product and put your product on the same page and advertise your product on that page. This is where you get all your placements from. This is where you get all the ASINs for all the different products that are going to rank and possibly get clicked on. This is where you get them from. It really streamlines that process and makes it super, super fast for you.
Well,
this has really saved us a heap of time.
This is a great segue for me to jump all the way down to the bottom here and talk about that one thing that we're still working on. Haven't released it yet. Now, sometimes the development team doesn't like when I talk about upcoming features, because then it makes it sound like we're committed to releasing it in the next couple of weeks. But you know what? Gosh darn it, we're going to get this thing out the door and let it be a tool for everybody to use. But we're calling it the product targeting tool. Just like you mentioned, that folks know that when you do your PPC targeting, you can target keywords, of course, but you can also target products. And I don't know if you have a particular ASIN in mind. Maybe we should kind of pull one up. But if we have a particular ASIN in mind, let me jump back to one of these reports we were working on. And well, this might not be the best example, but I'll try it anyway. If you plug in an ASIN into this tool, we can show you a list of however many competing products, but with a particular number of reviews and a particular number of stars. So the idea is, and first of all, I'm just doing this off the cuff. I haven't run this against this ASIN, so I don't really know what the results are. It's a live demo here.
You have to activate this in my account immediately.
This looks
amazing.
But what we want to do here is say, look, I want my product to be shown alongside other products. However, and then maybe this is cheating, but like I said, there's really everything's fair, I suppose, as an Amazon seller. But I only want you to put my product against other products where I compare favorably. It's like when you're going out with the ladies, you want to invite your ugly friends along with you, so you look better. You know what I mean? So here, what you can do is you say, look, show me 1,000 products, but only show products that have, say, 10 reviews, right? Or that have are very poorly ranked, only with 2 stars or less. And then if you do something like this, you can see the products that are less favorably reviewed than your product, and hopefully you'll have way more than 2 stars on yours. But now you can see a list of the products that aren't doing as well as your product is. And zooming down through this list, you can grab all of these ASINs for your product targeting report, and it's guaranteed that you'll be positioned next to a product where yours is guaranteed to be better, because you on purpose picked the worst, if you will, products where you're a better choice.
That's insane. I must have this immediately, George. You have to activate it. That looks incredible. What a cool tool that is. I can't believe you guys are sitting on that in beta. That's brilliant.
Thanks. So that'll be coming soon. Look for that very, very soon. Then a couple more things I just wanted to mention that kind of completes our tour through the whole list. One is, we're talking about the importance of ASINs. One is the ASIN Plus tool. This is kind of the reverse ASIN tool where you pick any one, maybe let's just use, keep the live demo going. Let's just use the same ASIN we were working on. You pick any ASIN, and what we do is we go through the list of all search result pages to find what phrases, what SERPs inside of Amazon that ASIN appears on. And so it's the reverse, if you will, of kind of understanding where, given a page one of Amazon, you enter a phrase and you see all the products. Well, this is the reverse of that. It's given a product, show me all the phrases. And reverse ASIN tools have been around for a while, and of course we think we've got a great version of it out there. And like every other keyword tool inside our suite of tools, you can fly out the different extra data here. You can jump into the different areas, or you can add it to your keyword collection. So ASIN Plus, it's kind of the classic reverse ASIN tool that's been out there for a while, and this is our version of it. Do want to mention though, and this is completes our tour, that we have two extra steps here I want to talk about: Listing Advisor and Keyword Advisor. These were created for folks who say, look, I've got a fair amount of products, I've got a fair amount of a budget to work with, but what I don't have is a fair amount of time. So this is a way for you to kind of offload the onerous task of optimizing your listing or doing the deep keyword analysis to us. And so what you can do, you can see I created a few tests here, but what you can do in Listing Advisor is say, you know what, for a few bucks, let me purchase a bundle, if you will, of labor. You've got our experts coming to bear to help you solve your problems here, but let me purchase a bundle of I want 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 listings that I want you to optimize for me. Just jump in here and do it. What you can also do is kind of a lighter version of that, and that's our Keyword Advisor, where we don't actually write the content for your listing like we do in Listing Advisor. We just do the research of the keywords for you. So if you want to do it yourself, that's great. And I would encourage you to do that. With your Merchant Word subscription, you just go to town using all of our tools that we talked about, do all that research, create your keyword list, and more power to you. But if you don't necessarily have the time, you're looking elsewhere inside your business, your focus is somewhere else, and you want us to do the heavy lifting for you, for a few dollars, we'll jump in and optimize the perfect set of keywords for your product. But if you don't need us to write the listing, we won't necessarily have to write all the copy for you. You can do that, but we'll give you the best, most refined set of keywords that not only our AI and our tools generate, but also our Amazon experts, real people who are real sellers on Amazon, understand how it works. Our Amazon experts will craft the precise set of lists of keywords that you need in your title, your bullet points, your description, etc. So the advisor services that we have, one's for keywords, and then you do the rest, optimize your copy, and the other is we'll optimize your copy and do your whole listing for you. Those are kind of the last.
Isn't my testimonial at the bottom of this page, George?
Oh,
sure. If it is.
See. Yeah, there you go. Oh my goodness. And you know what? I'm hearing it in your voice. This is
very, very kindly taken out the real world word I used instead of flipping, and implemented that, which is very, very nice of them. I think this is an absolutely fantastic tool and a great resource if you're looking to get your keyword research done. I thought it was unbelievable that I did.
Well, thanks very much. We, like I said, from the very beginning, back when I started all this, I was an Amazon seller, like all of us are still, and just working hard to figure out how to optimize my listing as best we possibly can. And my goal from that moment until now still has always been just try to be helpful to other sellers. And a lot of folks love to do it themselves. And that's great. If you want to jump in and optimize your listing using all of our tools, fantastic, more power to you. But if you just don't have the time, let us do the heavy lifting. We can take that off your shoulders. So I think that brings us through the full kind of tour of everything that we have done recently, everything we're about ready to launch, things that sort of were the foundation that started off our company. We spent a lot of time talking about the digital shelf insights reports, and that's important, I think, because there's just an unprecedented opportunity for you to see what your competition's up to that you haven't necessarily figured out yet. So this is, may as well cheat off your competitor's homework. It's right there. And like I said, all's fair in love, war, and selling on Amazon, I guess, as the new phrase goes. So why not jump in? But be happy to answer any questions you got, or Neil, talk about anything else you'd like to.
All right,
If you
so
wanna-
before we get into questions, because I know there's heaps of people who are going to have questions, George, we would like a special deal for anybody that doesn't have merchant words yet. We would like a special deal, please, because we're awesome at the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. What can you do for us?
Done. You've got a special deal. I got to tell you though, it's I woke up just a few minutes ago because it's 6 in the morning here. I don't have handy at the ready the URL we're using. Unless you've got the URL handy to talk to your audience about.
Wait, I don't. Let me have a look. Let me see if it's where it was, first of all. So maybe it is where it was. Oops, it'd be helpful if I could actually spell, Neil. Holy crap, it's not that early for me. I've got no excuse.
So
Let me have a
so
look.
here's what I want to mention though. No matter what else, whether it's the discount code that of course we want you guys to use because hey, if we can save you a buck, we want to, right? Because it's not about, I'm not trying to get myself rich, honestly. The only thing I want to do is help other folks. And so if it'll help you by giving you a great deal, I would love to do that. But if the help you're looking for is what's the discount code or anything else, how to use merchant words, what's this thing I'm seeing here I don't understand, just click on the help button. If our chat agents are online, you can chat with them live. If they're not online, leave us a message. We'll get right back to you. Or like I said, anything that I can do for you personally, just shoot an email over to me. I'm george@merchantwords.com. If my inbox is a little overwhelming and it takes me a while to get to you, don't worry, I'll have someone on my team help me out and straighten out my inbox. But we'll get back to every single person who needs some help. So don't worry, no matter what you need help with.
All right, so George, we are at merchantwords.com/Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in the chat so that everybody has that.
Oh, man.
And we also need to do...
now I'm stuck trying to remember how to spell entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat, so hopefully you can just pull it straight out of there. Aussie Online Entrepreneurs, ENTREN...
You know what? The very next thing I'm going to do after we're done with our webinar here today is I'm going to go make a shorter version of that.
Yes, it's one of those things. That's hilarious. I spoke to a friend of mine, and he said, "Oh, what's your website for Aussie, for AOE?" And I go, "Oh, it's www.aussieonlineentrepreneurs.com.au." And he went, "You are shitting me. That's the worst URL I've ever heard." Don't you find people just never get that? I don't know. Retrospectively, I wish I would have made that shorter. Anyway, so the code is a very short code, AOE, and that will make you take advantage of the offer, okay? AOE, and then you can take advantage of the offer as well.
Oh, it looks like we have a little tech support to do on the back end here. But my apologies for not having a nice, easy code ready to go. We will make one and fix it, I promise. So give us 5 seconds after we're done here, but we'll make merchantwords.com/AOE work for everyone.
Okay, great. So currently the page is at www.merchantwords.com/Aussie Online Entrepreneurs. When you get to that page, it will ask you for a coupon code, and the coupon code, dead easy, is AOE. Unlike my rather long code to go and get a deal, which sucks. Oh my goodness. It's all in there.
I guess the fact that I don't have all these discount code, the discount code and the URL and everything ready to go, it kind of shows you where my priorities are. Like I said, it's not about buy my stuff. That's never been what I've been interested in. All I want to do is help sellers. That's really my primary focus. That's why I created it. That's why I love chatting with you, Neil. That's why I love chatting with your audience, because just to be helpful. And the fact that I don't even have ready to go the right URL, that just tells you that I'm not about by my stuff.
To know where your priorities are, George. That's brilliant.
Oh boy.
All right, so we've got the man himself, Mr. George Lawrence, on the call. This is your one-time opportunity, well, not one time, but you know what I mean, to ask George a question, anything at all you want to know about merchant words. It's early for George, so we can kind of get him a cup of virtual coffee, and hopefully he'll stick around for a little while for us and help us out. All right, so let me see. My head is exploding. It's all unbelievable, says Chris. I know, it does so much, doesn't it? Okay, so Marianne says, what level of membership has access to all those features that you've shown tonight? So the digital shelf and things like that, George.
Yeah, well, like I said, we wanted to price it so that and this is where I can, let's pull up the pricing page and we'll kind of check it out. But I wanted to make sure that we priced it so that it was basically affordable for everyone. And if you look here, you'll see that even at the kind of the less expensive versions, we include just about everything. We tick the boxes almost all the way down the entire page because we wanted this to be useful for everyone, no matter how much budget you have. And in fact, you'll see that the digital shelf tool that we built is available at every level. Now, if you need a few more of these, like if one's not enough for you, you can of course upgrade to a higher level. But if you need like one more extra, what you can do, like I say, is just send me an email or talk with our tech support folks and say, George said it would be okay. Just give me another free one, will you please? Because like I said, my goal is just to help folks. It's not about trying to make anybody rich. If you need a digital shelf report, but you don't have the budget to buy an extra one, I'll give you one for free. I'll get anyone for free, one for free if they need one. But the point is, we price everything accordingly to what we think is affordable. But if you need a little extra help, let us know. We'll be happy to give you a discount on any of these. The digital shelf report, like I said, we'll give you one for free, even if you're not a Merchant Word subscriber or don't want to pull the trigger yet. So if you're thinking about joining and haven't, but you just want to see a digital shelf insight report for your product, let us know. We'll hook you up with a free one of these reports so you can get some value out of it right away, and then maybe you might want to sign up later. So the real answer is we give you a little taste of everything even at any of our membership levels. And of course, you can have deeper access the higher you go with the different subscription plans. But even if you don't subscribe at all, we want to give you value. So let us know, and we'll make sure that you get a digital shelf insights report for free for everyone.
I've got this wonderful image now of your tech support team who are probably all in bed still, kind of turning over, really uncomfortable, like, oh, George just said we're going to do all this extra, and they'll come in today like, what, George, something happened on the call. What happened on the call? They'll feel it that you said, oh yeah, we're going to do all this cool stuff for all the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs members. They'll be like, ah!
The funny thing is, like, our marketing team will go, did I hear George said he would give everybody a free one? And then they'll reach out to me and they'll like, somebody told me that you said you were handing out free stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, what's wrong with that? And they'll roll their eyes and go, but Neil, honestly, look, it's if we can be helpful to you, that's all the payment I want. Now, we have servers to run and people's salaries to pay, right? We're a business, so we're going to have to collect a little bit of money from you eventually, but we don't want to have a paywall in between us and you and your success. We want you to see this data. We want you to optimize your listing. We want you to be a great seller and connect with customers and make them happy. And, why would I want to slow that process down? So if there's any friction in the way of any kind, let me know and we'll remove the friction.
Geez, that's fantastic. Now, George, I know you pay attention to this sort of stuff, so you'll be fully up to speed with this. The recent deal with Walmart and Shopify has now given Walmart a greater footprint within the digital space. Is the data that we can get from Merchant Words going to be useful for Shopify and Walmart as well?
The answer is 100% yes. So when you take a look at Merchant Words right now and you see exactly what we published and our data and everything, you'll see that we're Amazon heavy. In fact, all of our data comes from Amazon and no other place from what you see on the website. But what we don't really kind of talk about too much, I'd be happy to tell you all about it right now though, is that we analyze, just like we do at Amazon, we analyze and observe eBay, Walmart, Etsy, and all these other e-commerce platforms. And we do that because, for a number of reasons, we want to keep an eye on them, kind of see what they're up to. We want to kind of test to see if they're emerging to be a real player in the space to make it, we need to bring out a version of Merchant Words for eBay, a version of Merchant Words for Walmart, those kinds of things. And our data science team are always kind of analyzing what's going on. And what we've seen is the insights that we glean from Amazon, which of course we share with everybody right on our website as we kind of walk through the last little bit, apply 100% correctly to the other platforms. Now, there'll be a little bit of variance, just like we were talking about earlier with the different marketplaces, talking about Australia versus UK and the US and things. There'll be a little bit of variant here and there, but by and large, the vast majority of what you can learn, the insights that you glean from one marketplace will apply perfectly well in another marketplace. So like I keep saying, if you want to stand on the shoulders of your competitors or cheat off their homework, if you will, you can do that in Amazon in the US and UK marketplaces, and that applies perfectly well to how you're going to optimize your products in Shopify, on Walmart, on Amazon, anywhere, or in Etsy, and eBay and Walmart. So the insights that you learn from one absolutely perfectly apply elsewhere, and that's wonderful, and it's thrilling to be for us to be able to kind of confirm our suspicions that that's the case. So please learn what you can learn from your competitors, no matter where you can see your competitors, and then take the fight to them and all the other marketplaces as well.
Wow, shit. I feel like this hour I don't know about you guys, I feel like this hour has just absolutely flown by. I just feel like it's absolutely flown by.
I know,
All right,
right?
So what I'm going to do, because I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what you're doing for them. You put together such a cool offer. So what I'm going to do, George, he says, where the hell am I looking, is, here we go. No, not dashboard, Asher. It's on change presenter back to Neil. Here we go. Staff, make Neil presenter, make presenter. All right, cool. Show Firefox, show this window. Yes, please. Let me know, guys, when that comes back up. And we're showing my screen again. All right, cool. That looks like I'm sharing my screen. So here's what George has put together for you. So typically what happens is you can join Silver at $29 a month, which is ludicrously cheap when you compare it to the other loads of stuff out there. And you'll get one single country, okay? So you can go and look at, whatever it is you want to do, whether that's Australia or the US or whatever it may be, all right? And that's great in and of itself, fan-bloody-tastic. But if you go to www.merchantwords.com/Aussie online entrepreneurs, and you'll get to this page, which George's lovely team has put together. I'm going to put this in the chat for you as well. Boink, boink, boink. There you go. And if you enter the coupon code, because we've got a coupon code here, coupon code, unlike the URL, is actually very simple, AOE, just like that, you can get yourself access. But what that will do for you is it gives you the global plan, So unlike every other thing out there that's not getting access, only just got one marketplace, you've now got access to all the marketplaces. And that's massively important, because as I told you earlier, what happens in one marketplace happens in another marketplace. So you can look at what's happening in the USA, you can look at what's happening in the UK, and you can utilize that to make informed, data-driven decisions about what's happening here in Australia. Super cool to do. They put together a fantastic package for us. I'm super pleased that they did. And as I said, one of the many things I love about Merchant Words is they've just really great people, and their support is second to none. Their support is absolutely fantastic, unlike a lot of those other nameless softwares out there. Merchant Words team really go above and beyond to make sure that everybody's looked after. Okay. Okay.
Well,
George?
Neil, you're very kind. Thanks for that. But what I wanted to mention is, whenever we have an opportunity to help someone, I view that as kind of like, that thrills me. And we review everybody, we review the questions that we get or the concerns that people have, the needs that whatever caused them to reach out to us in the first place. We go through and we review every single person who reached out to us, how we responded, were they satisfied, could we have improved our response to them? And it's something that, like I said, since the foundation of my core is, are we helping folks, and can we be more helpful to folks? This is just one way that we still try to execute on that mission, is we're obsessed about can we be the best we can be. Now, we don't always get it right. Sometimes we maybe say the wrong thing first, or we don't really understand what you're asking us, but we strive as best as we can to be as helpful as we can possibly be. So thanks for noticing, and thanks for mentioning it. That really means a lot.
No worries, mate. You guys run a great operation there. And as an entrepreneur myself, I know how much effort is required to run a really slick operation like you do. So kudos to you. A few folks asking me if they get everything. So all the cool stuff that George has gone through tonight, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is included in this plan, as George said earlier. Let me just pull that up. So it's all this stuff here, look, everything other than multiple users, which you guys wouldn't need anyway, and the keyword multiplier. We can't get that unless I can persuade George to kind of throw that in for us. I'm not quite sure, but you get all of that. So it's not like you're getting pieces missed out. You've got the majority of stuff in there. The most important things that we spoke about, the digital shelf, that's all going to be included in there as well. So that's all in there, all right? So don't panic. It's not like you haven't got access to some of the cool stuff that they do. It's all there for you, all right? George, what a pleasure having you on the call. I've just absolutely love what you guys do. The mission you're on and the space that you come from is really just brilliant. And it's so in line with what we do within the Aussie Online Entrepreneurs and within our community of bloody awesome people. Massive thanks for that. Massive thanks for joining us. I know it's super early for you and taking up your valuable time to talk about merchant words. Clearly, you're super passionate about it, which is always great fun to be around. So we appreciate that too, mate.
Oh, you're so kind, and the pleasure is all mine. If I can get up early for one day and help out some folks, then I'm all about that. So thanks for having me on. And it doesn't end here. If there's anything that I can do for anybody at any time, please just reach out and be happy to help any way I can.
You're a legend. Thanks, George. I really appreciate your time. And guys, thanks so much for taking up your Tuesday night to come and learn more about merchant words. Hope you guys sign up for it. George has done a brilliant offer for you. And I look forward to chatting to you all next week on our Monday night Q&A. Until then, folks, have a great night. Thanks so much for being on the call. And thanks again, George.
My pleasure. Thanks again, Neil. Bye now.